Hello everyone and welcome back to Java Forever course. Today we are starting a new chapter, and in this chapter we are going to learn about solving complex mathematical expression or converting a complex mathematical expression into Java. There is a very important skill, and this skill will use all the concepts we have learned in the past, right from in the number manipulation, some of the functions we have learned, the order of operation, all of that it will be useful here. The two things I want to make it clear: one is order of operation, really important, super important. And as you have learned in algebra, the order of operation follows the PEMDAS rule. The parentheses evaluated first, then exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. Now, when you encounter a complex equation, you will see two things. You will solve this in two different ways. In some way you will use one technique, and in another way you will, in some cases you will use different technique. And today I'm going to teach you these two techniques. The first technique I refer as divide and rule. So let me give an example. So suppose I'm creating an equation here. I will say the equation is, let's say x equal to 2 divided by 10 plus y and multiplied by 29. Now this expression I am going to convert into a Java program. Assume this is a formula that we have to implement it in our Java program. Right? Now in order to convert this, there are two ways we can do this. And this one is a relatively simple example. So first, in simple cases, I always suggest to go by second model, which is using the parentheses, and that way we don't mess up. So I'm going to make a parenthesis here just to make sure that 10 plus y is evaluated together. And then I'm going to make one parenthesis on the top side to make sure that this we covered it, the division, and then finally we do the multiplication. So if I write in Java, I will say x equal to, and I will say 2 divided by parentheses, and I'm adding my own parentheses just to make sure that Java doesn't mess up because of my bad implementation. So I'll say 10 plus y, and then I put everything into this, and I say multiplied by 29. And this way there is no confusion, there is no scope of error, because I used parentheses. Parentheses is very powerful because it evaluates at highest priority. So let's take that advantage, and anytime in doubt, always use parentheses. So that's one model. Now we can take the second model, but I would like to take a complex equation for that and show you the second model. In the second model, I'm going to take in a complex equation, because that way it's much easier for me to show you. So let's say I take an equation like this. I say y equal to, let me move this side. I say y equal to, and then say 5 3x square plus 5x plus 2 divided by 7w minus 1 over z. And this whole thing is divided by 3 plus x divided by 7. And you can see that it's pretty complex equation. It's not easy to simply solve using parentheses. Parentheses is useful, but in this case, when you see a super complex equation like this, I always recommend to use divide and rule. What I mean by divide and rule is treat one part, solve it, put it in a temporary variable, and then use the temporary variable in the next step. What I really mean here is, let me change the color, that way we don't get confused. I'm going to make a couple of circles. We can treat this one piece, and then we can treat this as another piece. We can solve this also as one piece, and this as another one piece. Then again this as one piece, and then this one whole thing as one piece, and then this whole big thing like this. This is what I call it divide and rule. Pay attention to the circle I'm drawing here. Now it will be much easier for me to solve this question by writing it in smaller pieces. Let's create a temporary variable. Let's call it a variable called a. We'll say a equal to 3 plus x, put parentheses, divided by 7. This takes care of this one, this A. So now if you look at it, this whole thing becomes 4A. So at the bottom, now I have got 4A, and where A is this. Similarly, I'll say 7W minus 1Z. I'll say B equal to 7 multiplied by W minus, again I can put it in the parentheses and say 1 over Z. Anytime in doubt, put the parentheses. Now this whole thing, this thing becomes B. On the top, I can say C. I can say C equal to 3x, 3 multiplied by x, multiplied by another x, put it in the parentheses, plus 5 multiplied by x, put it in the parentheses, plus 2. This becomes C. Now this on the top, I can say y equal to 5 multiplied by C divided by B. This whole thing is divided by 4A. As you notice, I declared some temporary variables to store small chunks. B becomes this, C becomes this, and then finally I assembled it back. This is my assembly. At the end, I went back and used all the temporary variables and assembled everything back. So this is much easier than using so many parentheses on all trying to do into one. It will be a nightmare to manage it. And this is what I referred this technique as divide and conquer. Go ahead and experiment, go ahead and play with it. Before you solve it, if you come across this, definitely try to draw circles and see that, okay, this is going to be my first variable, this is going to be my second variable, and then again, ultimately you will join it back. Okay, happy learning, happy practicing. Don't forget to practice, don't forget to solve all the quiz, because practice is the only way to learn coding. Thank you guys, I'll see you in the next class.
Thanks for watching. Do subscribe and press the bell icon for more videos.